What's going on, people? Welcome to BLCKPRNT Media, your platform for a deeper look at the news in the margins. Since the tragic death of George Floyd last year, there has been a resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement both in the US and across the world. In the UK, the events of last summer prompted major PR efforts from everyone from fashion labels to music platforms to video game developers. Basically, if you weren't showing support for Black Lives Matter movement at that time, then you were against it. In the sporting world, footballers have been kneeling before every match, replicating Colin Kaepernick's powerful 2016 gesture to show solidarity with the BLM movement. This has continued in every Premier League game since June 2020, and whilst the majority of those in the footballing world have agreed with this position, publicly anyway, Crystal Palace forward Wilfried Zaha has recently stated that he will no longer perform this new tradition. So, where did taking the knee come from? What's it supposed to achieve? And what has the reaction been in football? Before we continue, if you like this video or learn something new, remember to leave a like to let us know. We're closing in on our first 50 subscribers, and it would be great if you guys could help us to reach that target. So make sure, if you're new here, click that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to make sure you're the first in line when we post. All of our articles can be found on our Instagram page, and should you want to join the conversation, make sure you follow us on Twitter as well. If listening is more your thing, head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or SoundCloud and check out the BLCKPRNT Podcast. Remember, no A in the black, no I in the print. Keep it locked. Black Lives Matter started in 2013 when the phrase was used in a hashtag following the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting of Trayvon Martin. The murders of Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, and Philando Castile, to name but a few, all whilst in the custody of law enforcement, sparked mass protests under the banner of Black Lives Matter both in the US and worldwide. A notable moment occurred in August 2016 when, before the start of a pre-season NFL game, Colin Kaepernick knelt during the playing of the national anthem, bucking the trend of standing. Explaining his position after the game, he said, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of colour. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid to leave and get away with murder." Though Kaepernick's kneel was not the first, this was the first time such a powerful socio-political gesture had been seen in sport since the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. To say the reaction was mixed is an understatement. Many argued that Kaepernick was merely demonstrating his First Amendment rights, whereas others said that he was showing disrespect for the American flag. For every sports brand coming out in support of Kaepernick, there was a political leader coming out condemning it. Following the return of football during the COVID-19 pandemic, known as Project Restart, the English Football League and the Premier League made clear that they would do more to address racism and discrimination in the sport. As part of this, they agreed with all the clubs that players would take the knee before each game, and in the Premier League, wear shirts with Black Lives Matter written on it. The first glimpse of this was seen in a match between Aston Villa and Sheffield United. This action has preceded the start of every Premier League game since June without much fuss, though it's important to note that almost all of these games have, due to COVID-19 reasons, been played without fans in attendance. As we've seen in abundance in football, perhaps most recently with Raheem Sterling and Chelsea, football fans can lobby a wave of racist abuse towards players quite easily and then hide in the masses. Their effect on whether the pro-BLM stance will continue or not has yet to be seen, though during a match between Millwall and Derby, in which some fans were allowed in attendance, fans booed during the action of taking the knee. Whether this is an issue specific to Millwall fans or a reflection of wider feeling in the footballing population, we're yet to know. Recently, Crystal Palace forward Wilfried Zaha spoke publicly about his feelings towards taking the knee before games. He said, "I've said before that I feel like taking the knee is degrading and stuff, because growing up my parents just let me know that I should be proud to be black, no matter what, and I feel like we should just stand tall. I feel like taking the knee now, it's becoming, we do it before games and even sometimes people forget that we have to do it before games. Trying to get the meaning behind it, it's becoming something that we just do now, and that's not enough for me. I'm not going to take the knee. We're isolating ourselves. We're trying to say that we're equal, but we're isolating ourselves with these things that aren't even working anyway, so that's my stand on it." Brentford Football Club have been one of the first clubs to come out publicly and say that they're going to stop making the anti-racism gesture before games. Striker Ivan Toney said, "We have had a long discussion about that, why we're not taking the knee. Everyone has had their say and everyone agrees that we have been taking the knee for however long now and still nothing has changed. We are kind of being used as puppets in my eyes. Taking the knee and people at the top can rest for a while now, which is pretty silly and pretty pointless. Nothing is changing. The punishments need to be stronger. You're going to do so much and, in a way, you have to get that helping hand, but it doesn't look like it's coming at the moment. So you have to push for that and hopefully things change." It's clear that this is a tricky topic. There are so many differing opinions on what is the best and the right way to do things. But we'd like to hear from you. What do you think about footballers taking the knee? Do you feel like it's having an impact, positive or negative? Or do you feel like it's just performative? Let us know in the comments.